I've been working with the community to try to improve some of the car shots that I take for testing. Thanks to tips for aperture, the lens placement, and the type of tripod monopod to use, I was able to improve some of the shots that I took for testing. These are single shots taken with the Theta Z1 and they're JPEG. You can likely get much better shots if you take DNG and process the photos after you take them. To simulate an industrial workflow in a used car lot, I just took the shots. Due to stitching considerations, the lens opposite the shutter button is facing directly toward the main detail area. The biggest gains were in setting the aperture to 5.6. Compare this to automatic aperture with the same camera, the Z1. I'm using HDR, it's a JPEG image. The Z1 has a mechanical aperture, so you could have more control over it. If you set it to 2.1, you can see the difference between setting the stop to 2.1 versus 5.6. I was surprised at how this single setting improved my test shots. If you compare it side by side with the manual f2.1 versus the f2 5.6, you can see that the right side has quite a bit greater clarity of detail, even with the side car door open in the shot. Thanks to the many people from the community who contributed their hard-earned knowledge to the community discussions online. Here's a recap of the top 4 tips. Place the camera sideways using a monopod and a tripod. To get the maximum detail for the most important part of the car for the sale, face the lens opposite the shutter button toward the dashboard. This will avoid the slight blurriness you may get around a stitch line. To get the maximum detail from the console, set the aperture manually to 5.6. In the small enclosed space of the car, the 5.6 aperture appears to be the best. To see the dashboard, place the camera at eye level of an imaginary driver.